How can we be attentive and concentrated when chanting on Japamala? All right. Let me go back to Zoom. Okay, so first of all, you're going to chant Japamala. You should do that as your activity, not while you're driving a car, not while you're necessarily going for a hike in the woods or something like that. So how can you be attentive while chanting japa? Well, I would consider that you could make chanting japa one of your activities of the day, that you set aside some time for chanting japa, preferably a regular time every day. You keep your japa at other times in a sanctified place, that you don't just keep it hanging on your neck while you're walking around all day long. And you actually understand that your japa is a deity, as Srila Sridhar said. You know, you have to feed the deity every day. If you have a deity, you have to make regular offerings of incense and bhoga to the deity every day. You can't miss that. So you have to feed the deity. You have to nourish the deity. So in this case, the deity is your japamala, and your japamala is in a pure place because you're keeping your japamala, I would say, preferably in a white bead bag, because the deity is not. If you're a sannyasi or a brahmachari wearing saffron, your bead bag is not saffron, because your bead bag is not part of your attire. Your deity, your bead bag is, so to speak, you can consider it like the simhasana of your deity. Your bead bag, white bead bag, is like the altar, and your inside on the altar is your deity, which is your japamala. And you want to feed the deity, so you want to feed the deity by your chanting. And of course, while you're chanting, you're trying to, as we always hear from Gurudev, from Guru Maharaj, you're trying to avoid the 10 offenses to the holy name, and you're also trying to avoid doing namaparad, which is akin to inattentive chanting. So the Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he says, when someone says, how can I avoid the offenses, especially this offense of being inattentive while chanting, or how can I avoid that? And then Bhakti Vinod Thakur talks about that, how can I know who is a Vaishnav? He says, I can only know who is a Vaishnav if the Vaishnav will reveal himself to me. And then we know the example of Pundarik Vidyanidhi and Gadadhar and Mukunda Prabhu, how Gadadhar couldn't recognize Pundarik Vidyanidhi as a Param Vaishnav, and then Pundarik Vidyanidhi showed himself to Gadadhar, then he could recognize him. So how will I understand that when I'm chanting the holy name, that the holy name is none different from the Lord? Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purno Shuddho Nitya Mukto Vinatvam Nama Namino. How will I understand the divine position of the holy name when I'm not of that substance? I'm not of that quality. How can I know the holy name to be non-different from the Lord? How can I chant without offense? Well, then, as the Vaishnav can reveal himself to you, then we can also pray that the holy name will will reveal himself to us. And as Govinda Maharaj used to say, chant the holy name and the divine form of Shishi, Radha Krishna can reveal themselves within your heart. So that's what we're praying for. We're praying that the holy name can, sanctify my heart. Govinda and Guru Maharaj, he says, if you give a small place in your heart to the Lord will take over your whole heart. It's like a landing party. We always hear the expression, we have burnt our ships, because we're not going back to mundane life. We may not be situated in spirit. We may be not be situated on the proper spiritual consciousness. But in one sense, we burnt our ship. We're not going back to the intricacies of mundane enjoyment. We may not be cured from that disease of material lust, but we're not going back to mundane life. We're not going to betray everything that is our ideals. We're not going to betray Gurudev. We're not going to betray our worship of the Lord. We're not going to betray the Vaishnavas. We're not going to betray, our relationship with divinity. We're not going to give up on our ideals. So we've already more or less accepted this. At least it is our ideal. So then we have to be able to try to actually dedicate ourselves to the chanting of the holy name. So I believe if you have time allotted and you're really considering that this chanting of the holy name is very important for me, and I want to chant japa, and Gurudev has given me this japa, and I'm going to follow the instructions of Gurudev in chanting this japa, and then you can do it. If you're serious about your spiritual life, what could possibly prevent you from doing this? I mean, you drive a car, you can't be inattentive while driving a car. If you drive a car, your life is in danger if you're not attentive while you're driving. So if you're chanting the holy name, why would you not be attentive while chanting the holy name? Now, you can chant 16 rounds or more as much as possible, or minimum 4 rounds in a day. So if you're starting out and you consider that I will chant at least 4 rounds in a day or more, you can choose. I used to see many of the Vaishnavas in Navadip chanting at towards dusk, towards sunset. There would be many people walking by themselves and chanting. So I don't know if this is answering the question. Devashis, are you still there?
Yes, Maharaj.
All right. Now, I don't know, but how can we be attentive and concentrated when chanting? I mean, why can we not be that if we're really serious about chanting the holy name? Why wouldn't we be attentive? Why can't we be concentrated? If this we have chosen, this is important to us, then why can't we do it? I mean, you're asking me, how can we be attentive and concentrated while chanting? And if it's important to you, why wouldn't you be able to be attentive and concentrated? Concentrating on hearing and chanting the holy name. Why would that not be possible to do? I don't think you have to be necessarily a Param Vaishnav in order to be able to do this. And you can pray to the holy name for the Lord's mercy. And just like Govinda Maharaj said, when I go before the deity, I prostrate myself before the deity and I say, my dear Lord, please see me. I am here for your service. So that the japa, the chanting is not an object of our vision or of our ears or this or that. We're actually praying to the superior plane that please accept my service to the chanting of accept my service of the chanting of the holy name. Please accept my service. And then try to do that. I mean, considering those parameters, I don't see why it would not be, would not be possible to do that. And then somebody could say, well, do you do that? And I'd say, okay, let's not get into that. You know, you're asking me a question and I'm giving you the answer. I believe, is there validity to this answer?
Yes, Maharaj, very good answer.
Okay. I mean, just do it. Why do we have to overthink our service? I mean, if you're in a situation where the building's on fire and you have to put it out, you're not going to overthink the situation. You're just going to do it. Grab water, grab a hose, start trying to put out the fire. Carried your loved ones out of the building. You know, you'll just do this. You won't sit down and think, let me plan this out. I don't know. It just seems to me that the answer seems to be in the question itself. That's kind of my understanding now. Okay. And how can we practically offer ourselves to the Lord, and how do we know if our attempt is genuine and sincere? Well, good question, but I can almost hear Guru Maharaj saying, isn't it a little late for this question? You know, I'm assuming the person who asked the question is a practicing devotee and with years of service to the Lord and the devotees, and to Gurudev, of course.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, something. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I mean, one would think that I would kind of have some ideas to the answer already. How can we practically offer ourselves to the Lord? Because we want to do a service that's pleasing to the Lord. Yasha prasada bhagavat prasado, yasha prasada nakatika topi. Jayam stuvam stasya yashastu shandyam, bande goroshi charanaravinam. There it seems, if Gurudev wants this, then is very conducive to devotion. And if Gurudev doesn't want this, then it's useless. So how can we practically offer ourselves to the Lord? By offering ourselves to Gurudev, we're offering everything that we do, everything we say, everything. We're offering that to Gurudev. Yadati pratigrinati. We're offering everything to the superior plane. We're hoping to get back prasadam from that plane, from the mercy of Gurudev. And how do we know if our attempt is genuine and sincere? Because it will be offered to Gurudev, and we will be able to know if it's accepted by Gurudev. I mean, Gurudev is a person. Whether you can see him with your eyes or not doesn't really change anything. Because all these years that you've been a devotee, you've been offering your service to Gurudev, and most of the time you were not necessarily physically with Gurudev. So why should that change? Why should it change? If you can say, how will I know if Gurudev is accepting my service? Well, how did you ever know that Gurudev was accepting your service? Because Gurudev, for one thing, I remember Gurudev used to say, Yudamanyu never asked me many questions. Yudamanyu Seva Vikram. There's a clue is in his name, Seva Vikram, that he was recognized because of his service. Seva Vikram, Yudamanyu. So he said, he never asked me many questions. He just asked me, will this be pleasing to you? And if the answer was, the Gurudev said, yes, this is pleasing to me, then he would know that he could dedicate himself 100% to that which was pleasing to Gurudev. And if Gurudev replied, no, it's not really important that you could do this, you can do something else. And where's an example of that? One person, he had a farm in the middle of nowhere, so to speak. And he said, Gurudev, I want to offer this farm to you. It was actually in South America. Gurudev, I want to offer this farm to you. Gurudev said to him, because he knew this person's a good servitor, he said, what will I do with your farm? He says, I'll never go there. I'll never go to that country. So why are you offering this farm to me? And we would normally think, well, because he wants to have an ashram there. He wants to have the devotees. He wants to install the deity. But in terms of this particular devotee's relationship with Gurudev, Gurudev preferred to have that person working directly under his instruction and engaged in service that Gurudev would direct him in doing. So whereas many other people could open a farm and have a community, install a deity, and dedicate that to Gurudev, in the case of this individual person, Gurudev didn't want that. He didn't want that kind of a service offering. He wanted that person engaged more directly in his service under his instructions. So Gurudev answered him, what will I ever do with your farm? I'll never go there. Why is this important to you? So I say, Yasha Prashada Bhagavat Prashado, Yasha Prashada Nakatikatobi. Nakatikatobi. This service was not something that Gurudev wanted. So the devotee dropped that idea, and rightly so. Now I'm saying that that decision to not have a temple, to not have a rural community, that was a particular instruction to this particular devotee, not to everyone. But in this, I feel if we're, and I remember one time Srila Prabhupada, he said, someone asked him a question. He said, use your common sense. And if you don't have any, ask somebody who does, which I thought was a good answer. If you don't have any common sense, ask somebody who does. You should be able to get some kind of clue, some kind of answer from the assembled devotees. I'm assuming that this person is not living by himself in the middle of, for instance, Nigeria. I'm assuming this person lives in an association of devotees. Is that a correct assumption or not?
Yes, Maharaj. I mean, he has access to the community of devotees for sure.
Okay, so then why not ask to your god brothers and god sisters and ask them and try to do some service and relationship with them and do something as an offering to Gurudev? That's how will I know? The question is here. Let me get back to the question. Question is, How can we practically offer ourselves to the Lord? And how do we know if our attempt is genuine and sincere? Well, I believe that you can get some guidance from other Vaishnavas. And if you have some communication with Gurudev, many times can say, well, Gurudev's no longer physically present, so I can't write him a letter or send him an email. Oh, they don't have any communication on the level of heart-to-heart transmission. Heart-to-heart transmission, all the lines are down. I can't inquire submissively to Gurudev because all the lines to Gurudev are down. He's no longer in this world. So how can I possibly have an answer from Gurudev whether this service is sincerely offered and whether he's accepting and whether it's worth me doing it? How can I know that? Well, then you should be able to figure that out by your service relationship with Gurudev and what Gurudev expects of you. And if you can't find the answer from within your heart, I would just think that you could consult with other like-minded Vaishnavas and they would give you some input. There I see, for instance, Lakshmi Kanti. Lakshmi Kanti, how do you know if you can offer any service to Gurudev?
By following his instructions.
Okay. And if I cook lunch, I cook the lunch and I go before and I place it before pictures of Gurudev and I bow down and say mantras and prayers and I offer to Gurudev. How do I know if Gurudev is accepting that lunch?
You cannot know. And in fact, as far as my minimum understanding is, like, you just offer and you hope that he accepts, and that happens whether he's present or not, whether he, like, you just offer like with sincerity and you hope that he accepts.
Yeah, but I would also say, if I was with Gurudev and I made some offering, really trying my best to make it a pure offering to Gurudev, and I took it to Gurudev, and Gurudev tasted it, would Gurudev say to me, take this away, it tastes terrible, I don't want this? I don't think Gurudev would say that. I don't think Gurudev would say that. I think Gurudev would thank the devotee and then take the offering. And whether Gurudev liked it all or not, that'd be a question of his own personal taste. But I think he would be pleased that devotee dedicated the devotee's time and energy and love to offering it to Gurudev. I mean, for one thing, we hear the story of Vidura. Vidura was gone and Krishna came there while his wife was there, and let me see. So this is Vidura, right? And she was peeling bananas, and Krishna came there. Vidura's wife was peeling bananas. And in her ecstasy, she offered the banana peels to Krishna, not the bananas. She peeled the bananas and offered the peels to Krishna. And Krishna was eating the banana peels. So Guru Maharaj said, well, you can understand this in the sense that she was so moved by ecstasy that she was offering banana peels. But what about Krishna? Krishna is not, he wasn't overwhelmed by ecstasy. He was eating those banana peels. Why did Krishna eat those banana peels? But they say, what is it? Bhava-grahi Janardana, right? Offer to Janardan with love and affection. What you know. So in that saying, Bhava-grahi, what you're really offering is with love and affection. It's not just the food stuff that the Lord is eating. He's eating the love and affection with which you offer that. And that's what and then, so that idea is there that we're trying to offer with love and affection, and what Gurudev and what the Lord is taking is our offering of love and affection. That's the important ingredient. So I believe that whatever we're doing, we should be able to offer with love and affection. Now, I have one impediment for myself. One impediment for myself. That is that I'm just a dog. I'm just a dog. Dogs can't offer things to the Lord so easily. Dogs are dirty. They're not good. It's not good to have dogs around Tulsi. They'll dig up Tulsi. They'll do all kinds of nonsense. Having a dog around is not a good thing. If you have a temple, you don't want the dog in the temple. So that's my only impediment, that by nature, I'm a dog. So I don't really know about how to offer things to Gurudev with love and affection, because I'm not of the human species. So that's the problem I have. I have a problem that I think that I'm a dog, I'm a fallen soul. So what can I offer to Gurudev? That's my only problem. But my advice in answer to these questions, I think my advice is good advice. But I have just that impediment that I think I lack the purity to approach Gurudev. That's the problem I have. I haven't got a solution for that, but anyway, the answers to the question I gave, I think, are valid answers. I don't know what to tell you.
What is your solution, Maharaj, for the unattainable?
For unattainable, what is unattainable?
Well, you just, not that unattainable, but you said, oh, I have a solution for not being qualified to approach Guru.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't really know. Last night I got here, fell asleep. I had a dream. In my dream, I kept on falling down, like I couldn't walk down steps. I couldn't control my bodily functions. In other words, in my dream, I saw a glimpse of old age and senility. So what is the solution? Who knows? Who knows what is the solution to the attainment of the unattainable? But anyway, I honestly believe there is no shortage of time. I mean, if I don't attain the attainable in this lifetime, I'll just pray to be able to continue birth after birth, because time is running out. So I don't think I'm any closer to the attainable than I was 50 years ago. So, what am I going to do about it? Oh, I'll keep on trying to go on with my service and try to maintain some sincerity and purity. And what else can I do? I don't say, will that make you sincere and pure? No, I doubt it. But at least I'll try for that. What else am I supposed to do? What else can I do? I'll just try and serve Gurudev. Gurudev, when he was present, Gurudev liked me. So I feel I have a relationship with him. He showed love and affection for me. So that love and affection will carry me on in my service. Whether I'm thinking I'm a worthy recipient of that love and affection, well, that's not for me to answer. I think that's more for Gurudev to answer. He saw some worth in me, and I didn't see that worth in myself. But Gurudev told me, I am never hopeless. I am always hopeful. So, all right, I will try to be hopeful. I will be hopeful. I will never, but like I was talking to one devotee I knew who was sannyasi from ISKCON. And he told me, well, what would you do if you went to the spiritual world and Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Sridhar Maharaj was in one room and Srila Prabhupada was in another room? Where would you go first? And of course, this was his question because he's not knowing about Govinda Maharaj or Charya Maharaj. And besides, it was years before. It was during the time of Guru Maharaj and everything. He said, so where would you go? If Guru Maharaj and Prabhupada, you were in the spiritual world, Guru Maharaj was in one room, Prabhupada was in another room, where would you go first? And I told him, look, honestly, I have bigger problems than that. I honestly have bigger problems than that. That is not a problem for me. I don't consider that question to be a problem. If I walk in one room or I walk in the other room first, what difference does it make? What difference does it make? I'm there and they're both there. Well, hallelujah. What more can I ask for, I said, I have bigger problems than that. This is not a problem. Then Govinda Maharaj told me I would go into the room of Prabhupada first, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, because he's going to be a little less heavy than Guru Maharaj. Anyway, that was Govinda Maharaj joking, but this question to me, even these questions. Here, let me go back to these questions. Question was, here it is. How can we be attentive and concentrated when chanting on japa mala? Well, first of all, you've got me, by your question, you've got me chanting on japa mala. I'd say hallelujah. That's really good. I've got a japa mala in my hand and I'm chanting on it. What more could you ask for? I've actually picked up a japa mala and I'm chanting on it. That seems to me a major victory right there. How do I do it? Oh, well, you hold the beads between each finger and you chant the Maha Mantra on that, and then you go into the next japa mala. And you try not to fall asleep and you try not to drop your japa mala back into the bead bag. So, okay, we've answered the first question. But hallelujah, I mean, you've actually got me picking up my japa mala or finding it. Okay. Then 2, how can we practically offer ourselves to the Lord? And how do we know if our attempt is genuine and sincere? Well, again, I honestly think you're going to have to answer that question. I can't answer that question for you. You're going to have to find this answer to that question within your heart. And if you can't And if you can't find the answer to that question in your heart, then all I can say is, Houston, we have problems. You know, on the moon rocket launching and all that. Houston, we have problems. I mean, in other words, you're asking the question, how can we practically offer ourselves to the Lord? And how do we know if our attempt is genuine and sincere? I mean, honestly, you're going to have to answer that question yourself, because your whole life depends on the answer, doesn't it? Or am I wrong? Would you say, Saraswati, is the answer to that question of any consequence? I would say, of course it's of consequence. It's so much importance and so much consequence that you individually are going to have to answer that. You're going to have to find the answer. And if you can't find the answer, then you're lost in the jungle. Without a compass, without a guide, you're lost in the jungle if you can't answer that question. You know, what is that question? What is that question? How can we practically offer ourselves to the Lord? How do we know if our attempt is genuine and sincere? You know, that's a very core question, and you're going to have to find the answer. And I think some clue is in the idea that Guru Maharaj said, a person is known according to their ideals. So I would consider that your ideals have everything to do with that answer. You know, is this your ideal? Is it your true ideal? Is it the most important thing to you, more important than your whole life? Because eventually what we call life in terms of this bodily existence is going to be snuffed. But that answer is of eternal importance. So I would think that you would have to listen. I mean, I've explained something, but you're going to have to find the answer. It would seem to me anything that we do is going to require answers to these questions. Chanting japa with sincerity. Well, try to, first of all, try to chant japa. And two, try to do it with attention and sincerity and without any nam-aparads. Okay? Do we have that? Do we have the book, The 10 Offenses to the Holy Name? Do we have that? Can we put that in the chat? People can download it.
Let's have a look.
Huh?
Have a look.
All right. I'm here in Los Angeles. I'm not in SoCal today.
Maharaj, is there a new ashram? Dandavat Maharaj. Dandavat to the devotees. Is there a new ashram there in Los Angeles?
I'm visiting Avadut Maharaj and the Russian and Ukrainian devotees here.
Hmm.
And as far as I heard, they just purchased a new property in Malibu.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think many people have heard the word Malibu. Did you ever hear that word?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think people all over the world know that name. It's like New York City or something, but it's not New York City. It's in It's like kind of one of the centers of the what's the word? The world that deals with cinema and things related to that. It's one of the centers of that world. And that's kind of the world that they're dealing with. They're dealing with their full dome presentation, which has become very nice and very sophisticated. So this is a good place to be, I think, when they get, I'm not in Malibu now. I'm still in there. I'm still where they are before. They haven't moved yet. So, and there's some Russian devotees here, and there's some Ukrainian devotees here. So, anyway, I thought, I haven't seen Abhidut Maharaj for a while. I consider that Abhidut Maharaj, in my estimation, is kind of like a genius, because he and his father, you know, they helped open up all of Russia. And he's a very, very, very extremely intelligent person, Abhidut. A very good person, good-hearted, good person. So I wanted to visit him. He's going to travel to, soon he will be going to Thailand and also to India within a few days. So I thought I'd come down and see him. Besides, it gave me an excuse. Gave me an excuse to travel with a 5.5-hour drive. It gave me an excuse to get out of SoCal. I was going a little nuts in SoCal. That is why, because I think it was Alexander the Great, I don't know who, but someone said, it is harder to manage an empire than a family. So when you're living in an ashram for much time, you can get the feeling of that, what that means, that it's harder to manage I said it wrong. He said, harder to manage an empire than a family. Managing. No, exact opposite. It's harder to manage. What is that? No, the idea is that it's harder to manage a family than an empire. That's the idea. I said it exactly backwards. Do you know that quote, Devashis?
No, Maharaj, I'm not. I don't know.
It's harder to manage a family than an empire, I think. In other words, when you're in ashram all the time, you get caught up with so many questions that you really get tired of hearing. You know, we don't have anyone to do the noon offering. Who's going to cook the prasadam offering for the evening? You know, the pujari's sick. Who's gonna do Mangalarti? This and that. You get tired of hearing those kind of, things. I remember with Guru Maharaj, sometimes we'd be talking with Guru Maharaj, and they would come up to him and ask him questions about tilak. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And you got to feeling that being the leader of a small community, and so most of our temples are pretty small communities, I think. You get caught up with questions of trivia. Maybe Alexander the Great liked to go conquering because it got him away from home. Is that possible?
Anything's possible.
Yeah.
So I posted a link in the chat, and I see Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu also posted a different link in there as well. So for the holy name and 10 offenses.
Okay. So everyone, you can click on the link. You don't
remember,
already
remember, you need to do it before the Zoom closes, because it'll go then, obviously.
Yeah, so I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it. Although I have the book, but I like to click on links anyway. Okay, there it is. Very nice. So I clicked on the link, it opened up, and now let's see. Now I just need to, let's see, go to, I'm in Firefox, go to downloads. Let's see. So I have this open up in, the book is open up in Firefox. Let's see. Now, how do I get this to download? Download, tools, downloads, add-on, sign in. Oh, here, maybe over here. Here, download. Okay. Holy Name 6th. Clicking on save and downloads. All right. Okay, you got it. Holy Name 6th, PDF. I can print it now. Try reading that. Try reading that. It's always good to refresh one's reading. And also, if you wish to become a guru and you want to give initiation, then you'll have this link. You'll have this book. All right, so now it's 11:23, and it was suggested that we make today's Zoom 1 hour long. So we have 7 more minutes approximately. So is there any other question or comment? Hey, where is it Gaurachandra and Falguni? Oh, Falguni's knitting again. Are you knitting?
No, Maharaj, I'm listening to you.
Okay. What I always thought about knitting is, let me see. I have well, it's not good to mix in mundane references. There was a lady who would sit by the guillotines in France knitting. Do you remember that? Perhaps she was knitting very nice little beanies for all the heads that were chopped off. Oh, he lost his head. He needs a nice little beanie.
Maybe they got cold, Maharaj.
Yeah. And Gaurachandra, he can always use a beanie because he has his hair cut very short.
No, it's not cut. It's just no hair anymore.
Hair today, gone tomorrow. So, but Falguni doesn't need a beanie because she has hair, but she can make a beanie for Gaurachandra. It'll keep his head warm.
And how long are you going to stay in Los Angeles, Maharaj?
Till Friday. And then I'll go back to SoCal because on Monday, we have a program in honor of Ramachandra's mother and Krishna Mohini's mother-in-law, Maladari. She passed away. So we're having a Vaishnav Seva program for Ramachandra's family.
Yeah.
Maharaj, I say that you, on your way back, you get someone to help you, and you get that chair that you're seated now and on the back of the car, and you take it. You look like fantastically comfortably there.
Yeah, it is. But I think if I take this chair with me, they will never invite me here again.
It will be worth it, no problem.
Nah, this chair is great. I should find out where they got this chair. It is nice. Okay, any other question? We have 4 minutes, counting.
No
Where's
question, Maharaj, but I just want to say
Where's Lakshmi Kanti?
she's there.
She left.
No, she's there.
I'm back. My internet was off for a few minutes.
Oh, how are you, Lakshmi Kanti?
I'm good, Mara. I'm good, thank you. Dandavat.
I know. So, are you traveling? Are you going to travel?
I can travel. My passport expires soon, so I can travel. Prabhu will travel. He will go to
Can't you get an English passport?
as for within a year, yes.
Within a year? Oh,
Within
okay.
a year. After several steps and several £1,000s.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
Hopefully, because it's expensive.
Yeah. All right, good. Because I take it your present passport is going to expire soon, and 2, soon will be expired. Because I take it you're not going to be able to renew that passport very easily, right?
They have changed the validity of the Venezuelan passports, but it is already very difficult to renew them. It's quite a task.
Wow. Right now, you're just in the UK. You don't have to travel, and of course, you can't travel very freely to anywhere else anyway. So.
Yeah, but since the passport is going to expire soon, and the regulations for any passport needs to be 6 months validity to travel anywhere, I literally cannot move.
All right, so you can't move. Luckily, you're there in England, so you don't need to move, because Hail Britannia, Britannia rules the sea. Right. I think Devashis is the only one from England, only one for UK on this whole transmission, right?
Yeah, I think you're right, Maharaj.
Lavanya was around, wasn't she?
Where's she?
Wasn't
Yeah, I
she?
don't know where she is. Yeah.
Saraswati. Okay. She's not from the UK. Radharani.
Lavanya is not British, and I didn't know.
Krishna Chaitanya is not from the UK. Krishna Mohini is not from the UK. Gaurachandra and Falguni are not from the UK. Tungaras is not. Lavanya Mai is.
Dandavat, Maharaj.
Rasaraj. Who's Anu? Anu Krishna or who?
I knew.
I don't know. Anyway, it's 11:30. My time has run out. And I actually like this new time limit. It keeps us from running on, keeps us from having run-on sentences. So, okay. What does that? I got some message. Gaurachandra, we're staying alone in Puri in 1871.
No, that's a long one, Maharaj. I'm reading the biography of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, the 7th Goswami, and he wrote a poem to Haridas Thakur, and I found it so beautiful. So I'm just sharing with you because I found it so beautiful, and I don't have anyone else to share it with. So So he has a lot of spelling
Okay.
because it's copied from a PDF, but it's a long poem, but it's so beautiful.
Okay, I'll read it off the air. My
Okay.
time on the air has run out. Who's this from? Chinmoy Dev. I want to include that in the sermons book. Then formatting with Maha Mantra. Okay. All right. I will try to do that. My Dandavat Pranams. Have a good dinner, a good supper.
Dandavats.
Jai Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj ki jai.
Wait a minute, I never saw Lavanya Moy's face. All right, next week. Oh, there you are. My
Dandavat.
Dandavat.
Sorry, I'm pottering around, you know.
You're what?
I'm just pottering around in the garden, actually, planting things. I can't sit down for very long.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to see all of you. I'll see you soon. Maybe in the future I can come to. Maybe, well, in the future I'll try to come there.
Jai.
Jai.
Okay. Dandavat.
Jai Dandavat Maharaj.
Dhanavad.
Dandavats.